Hello everyone, welcome back to Financial News. I'm Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and my co-host is Paul Municle with Ameriprise Financial. Today is January 3rd, 2022. And Paul, I'm going to let you take the reins, giving us an update as what's taking place in the marketplace. And Ameriprise has given me some information as of this morning, and I'll share it after you're finished.
Thanks, Ron. I want to start out today's show talking about government debt. It's been in the news a lot, and try and answer the question, how much government debt is too much government debt? So let's look into it. From a subjective perspective, most people would likely agree that we already have too much government debt. Just ahead of the financial crisis in 2008, federal government debt outstanding and in the hands of the public was approximately $5 trillion. Now today, that figure is just under $23 trillion. Now according to the Treasury Department, $22.69 trillion as of December 6th to be exact. But indeed, today's debt levels are all the more concerning given future debt/deficit projections and trajectory of unknown obligations such as Social Security, Medicare, and other non-discretionary entitlements. Now, given this backdrop, we often hear the question of, at what level does government debt become economically dangerous? Now, the answer to this question is largely, although not entirely, one of a quantitative perspective. Much like an individual or business, the amount of debt that a country can support comes down to the cost of financing that debt. So for better or worse, the current cost of financing the federal debt is relatively manageable due to today's low interest rate environment. But what happens when interest rates rise? That's a discussion for another day because that will increase the cost on that debt. There are other manageable considerations as well. As shown in the data, the cost of financing U.S. government debt as a percentage of GDP, it's presently about 2.6%. Now that is a level much lower than that of the 1980s and the 1990s. The data that we're talking about is sourced from FactSet. So relative to the dollar amount of the debt is very high, but as I just mentioned, relative to where we had been, it's reasonable from a percentage of GDP percentage. So something we just have to keep monitoring and see where it takes us.
Paul, you just touched on interest rates. If they increase, then the market sometimes is a little unstable and kind of falls apart, doesn't it, with a correction?
I mean, there's no certainty to any of it. The market is kind of anticipating, we believe, some interest rate changes, but who knows? I'm out of the business of trying to predict where the market's going to go. It's too difficult to do.
Well, the Ameriprise has also given us this last-minute information. The U.S. stock futures are higher by over 0.5% this morning, after the S&P 500 generated healthy gains of 4.5% in December alone.
It was a nice month in December. If you want to call it the Santa Claus rally or the end of the year rally, whatever it was, you just reported it, we got it, and it was a nice bump for those invested in the market.
Europe is trading higher across the board by about 1%, while Asia closed mixed. Japan closed for the holiday. Is there any comment on that?
Overseas futures are how people usually look to see indication how our market may open. I think you've got some data there on our futures to let people know kind of what to expect, at least for the first trading day. It is the first trading day, right, of January?
Yeah, it is. Right. Believe it or not, we're in 2022,
it's crazy.
Paul. Okay, U.S. Treasury yields are slightly lower with some curve flattening with the 10-year near 1.5%. Gold is a minus 0.7%, and WTI crude is a minus 0.5%.
So nothing dramatic there at all.
Nothing,
Just-
nothing. Well, thanks, Paul, for the update. Stay with us. We will be right back. Our show called Your Money. Paul usually has an interesting topic. We'll be right back. And we're back with Your Money. Thank you for staying with us. And Paul has an interesting topic, and that is maybe having a resolution to control your finances in the new year. Take it away, Paul.
Yep, it's that time of year, of course. So today's topic is, resolve to take control of your finances in the new year. So let's go ahead. Many of us do take advantage of a new year to turn over a new leaf. And this can include everything from starting a new exercise regimen to committing to cooking more at home. It's also a prime time to assess your current financial situation and take concrete steps to improve it. So today we're going to go over a variety of steps to take as the new year begins to enhance your financial life. Now, some may be more appropriate than others for your circumstances, but here's some general things to consider. Number one, you always got to review where you stand. So start by taking a comprehensive look at your current financial position. Ask yourself, are you generating enough income to meet expenses? Where could you cut back on living costs? And are there loans or debt you can pay off quicker? Maybe are you saving enough for your key financial goals? Asking the tough questions to get a good sense of where you stand give you an honest assessment of where you start. After that, consider any of these following steps that seem appropriate for you. Number one, deal with debt. Make a plan to pay down debts as quickly as you can. A priority should be to repay high-interest borrowing debt, like credit card debt, maybe as quickly as possible. To the extent the loans are manageable, you can continue to make monthly payments, but the more you pay off, the easier it will be on your monthly budget. Number two, build your savings. Financial security is closely related to the amount of money you have available to you. Commit to building up an emergency fund, usually equal to 6 months of your income, to help deal with unexpected short-term needs. Then, commit to boosting your retirement savings contributions per month if you can. Number three, try to resolve or try to make it a point to get a better job. Many employers are having a hard time finding the right kind of people to fill roles. This may be the best opportunity in a long time to find a job that offers better compensation and that you may actually find more enjoyable. Next, invest more effectively. So do you think you might be able to get more out of your portfolio? Take a closer look at what's working and what isn't. It may be time to cut your losses on investments that have proven to be disappointing while putting some of that money to work in other assets that offer greater potential. Let's make 2022 different. If you feel like there's more you could be doing to shore up your financial position, make a pledge to get that process started now. It may be beneficial to consult with a financial advisor to help you find a path to a more prosperous future. And as I always say on this show, if you're working with a financial advisor, that's great. If you're not, or if you want a second opinion to the one you're working with, feel free to reach out to me directly. You can call me at 708-226-3412.
Oh, again, thank you, Paul, for bringing that to the viewers. And, we're starting a new year. A lot of things should be put in place in properly planning your finances. And that's basically what you're asking for people to step back and take a look at. Instead of buying, because you have finances, you should be taking and looking at your portfolios and making sure you have a lot of reserve funds for the unexpected. And that's the bottom line, I think, of what you're trying to tell people.
Yep, and the one thing I can promise people is at some point this year the market will go up, and at some point the market will go down. That you can count on. And is your portfolio, are you prepared for that? Can you handle those
Yeah.
ups and downs? Are you in a situation you should be in? Those are the things you got to start to reevaluate.
The
And
important
now's a
thing
good
is
time.
you're not in investments where you could lose a substantial part of your savings. That's where you need a professional person to help you.
Exactly.
Thank you again, Paul, for Paul Municle with Ameriprise Financial, myself, Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and Palos Heights. We wish you good investment day.